Today's Piper's birthday. She's 8. Just thought we'd show you some of more of our Christmas decorations. There's the nativity. Things are still kind of dark in there, huh? Yeah, and here's Grandpa. He's ready to read our Christmas story for tonight. You ready, Grandpa?
Ready? Okay.
What's the name of our story tonight?
Tonight is Little Roger's Night in the Church. It was Christmas Eve. Little Roger sat in his grandparents' house eating his supper. Grandfather had gone to the church to put the fire in order for the night, lock up the doors, and make all safe. Suddenly, Granny explained, "Oh, dearie me, Grandfather has gone off and forgot his keys. Would you be afraid, little Lillian, to run up with them?" "Not a bit," said Roger. "I'll take him down in a minute and then run home." So after a good night hug from Granny, off he ran. The church was near, and the moonlight and the moon light as day. So he never thought of being afraid. Grandfather was stooping to cover the fire for the night. He was so busy he never knew Roger was there till he jingled the keys in his ear. But he laughed, well pleased. "I only just missed them," he said. "You're a good boy to fetch them up. Are you going home with me tonight?" "No, I'm to sleep at my mother's," said Roger. "But I'll wait and walk with you, Grandfather." So he slipped into a pew and sat down till the work would be finished. And he looked up. He saw all at once how beautiful the old church was looking. The moon outside was streaming in so brightly that you hardly missed the sun. Roger could see all the way up to the carved beams of the roof and trace the figures on the great arch windows over the altar. To study the roof better, Roger thought he would lie flat on the cushion a while and look straight up. So he arranged himself comfortably, and somehow it will happen even when we are full of enjoyment and pleasure. His eyes shut, and the first thing he knew, he was rubbing them open again only a minute afterwards, as it seemed. But Grandfather was gone. There was the stove closed for the night, and the great door was shut. Roger jumped up in a fright. As you can imagine, he ran to the door and shook it hard. No, it was locked, and he was shut in for the night. He understood it all in a moment. The tall pew had hidden him from sight. Grandfather had thought him gone home. His mother would think that he was safe at the other cottage. No one would miss him. There was no chance of being let out before morning. Roger was only 6 years old, so no wonder that at first he felt frightened. But he was a brave lad, and that idea soon left him. He began to think that he was not badly off. After all, the church was warm. The pew cushion was as soft as his bed. No one could get in to harm him. In fact, after the first moment, there was something so exciting and adventurous in the idea of spending the night in such a place that he was almost glad the accident had happened. So he went back to the pew and tried to go to sleep again. Roger had heard the clock strike 11 a long time since. He was lying with eyes half shut, gazing at the red fire grate and feeling at last a little drowsy, when all at once a strange rush seemed to come to him in the air, like a cool, clear wind blowing through the church. Just at this moment, the church clock began to strike 12. Roger listened to the deep notes: 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It was Christmas Day. As the last echo died away, a new sound took its place. From far off came the babble of tiny voices drawing near. When the church bells began to ring all together, a chime, a Christmas chime, only the sounds were as if baby hands had laid hold of the ropes. Almost before he knew it, Roger was climbing the dark belfry stairs as fast as his feet could carry him. Higher, higher. At last he gained the belfry. There hung the 4 great bells, but nobody was pulling at their heavy ropes. On each iron tongue was perched a fairy. On the ropes clustered together, all swaying to and fro. They floated in and out of the tower. They mounted the great bells and sat atop in swarms. They chased and they pushed each other, playing all sorts of pranks. How long the sight lasted, Roger could not tell, but all at once there came a strain of music in the air, solemn and sweeter than ever mortal heard before. In a moment the fairies left their sports, flew from the tower in one sparkling drift, and were gone, leaving Roger alone. And then he felt afraid, which he had not been as long as the fairies were there, and down he ran in a fright and entered the church again. The red glow of the fire was good to feel, for he was shivering from the cold and excitement. But hardly had he regained his old seat when a great marvel came to pass. The wide window over the altar swung open, and a train of angels slowly floated through. Christmas angels with faces of calm, glorious beauty and robes of white as snow. Over the altar they hovered, and wonderful song rose and filled the church. The words were few, but again and again and again they came. Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill towards men. Then the white-robed choir parted and floated like soft summer clouds to and fro in the church, pausing here and there as in blessing. They touched the leaves of the Christmas greenery as they passed. They hung over the organ and brushed the keys with their wings. A long time they clustered above the benches as if to leave a fragrance in the air, and then, noiseless as a cloud, they floated to the window. For one moment their figures could be seen against the sky. Then the song died away. They were gone, and Roger saw them no more. You can guess Grandfather's surprise when his little grandson ran to meet him with his wonderful story when he opened the church. He took the boy home to the cottage, and Granny speedily prepared a breakfast for her darling after his adventure. But Roger would go on telling of angels and fairies till both grandparents began to think him bewitched. Perhaps he was, for to this day he persists in the story. And though the villagers that morning exclaimed that at no time had their old church looked so beautiful before, and though the organ sent forth a rare, sweeter music than fingers had ever drawn from it, still nobody believed a word of it. Roger had dreamed it all, they said.
Good night.
The end.